and this is the Health Medical, the 10-minute short webinar highlighting some of the lessons that you have sent us and maybe introducing a couple more that I have in my files, basically. So welcome back. Like I said, it's going to be a very short one. We're going to go through a PowerPoint just highlighting some of the things you sent to us and going over them and sharing some positive feedback on these different things. So welcome, everybody. We're going to start off with Gina Harrison, who sent some great worksheets in with many health-related questions on them. The next few slides are showing different ways that math is used in healthcare. I'm very impressed with some of these. If you look on the screen now, the first problem is very simple, just a basic addition item. And what's neat about this in healthcare is the fact that I know from working with my nursing teacher that it's very important that students in healthcare learn to do different math problems without calculators, because a lot of the colleges, especially in our area in Berks County, are requiring them to take math tests to continue into the nursing program, and they are not allowed to use calculators. So it's been a very different look as far as how I'm teaching and how I'm relating math to some of the students. So, and I like some of these because like number 2 is a long-term care facility buying recreational supplies. Nurses don't necessarily think they might be doing that, but they might have some different requirements that nurses now have to do that maybe they didn't in the past because there were people that took care of it. But because of the economy, they're required to do more things, maybe a little bit outside of their area. So those are very nice problems. What else I'm going to show you is something that I found online, very, very cool. Gina Harrison as well. These are different medical math things. In fact, I pulled these. It looks like this might even be hers. Really nice PowerPoint. And what it explains is, and I think this is really neat, very basic things and what they are used for in the healthcare. If you notice when she starts her PowerPoint, she says the subtraction can be used for this, for inventory, for different things, and then she gives you a sample word problem, which is really neat. It's that relationship between regular math and CTC math, which sometimes is lost in translation. So I have a couple of her slides. Again, any of these that I show you will be shared with you if you would like them. They are actually currently, I just posted them to the PLC site, so they can be accessed maybe even through the toolbox eventually. Again, just a couple to show you a couple items. Here she has division problems. Kim Wentz, another medical professional from our PLC group, also turned this in. I think this is very unique. This is a very unique way to teach math, and I really like it. And I'm hoping, Kim, if you hear this, I am going to use this. If you look down at number 1 in the what to do section, it's a quote. It says, "Give him an inch and he'll take a mile." And what they do in this activity, which is really neat, is she forces them to change the way they write the quote, which I think is really unique. And I don't have everything here, but she has about 10 or 12 of these that she gives you the answers for. And give him 2.5 centimeters and he'll take 1.6 kilometers. I think it's a very unique way to teach, and I think it would really get students involved in the activity. So again, I really like those ideas. Another one she does is the math problem of the week, which I think is very neat. It's a very nice format. It gives the name of the program, the date, and the assignment, which is conversions, the math problem, and here are a couple math problems. The other thing that's nice is after the problems it says which of the answers is the normal oral body temperature. I think that's neat to ask questions after a math problem that maybe aren't math related, but they relate to the math problem. It's very good for students to see the actual literacy end of the math side as well as the math end. So the work explanation, a solution and a score, and there's the date of the problem, which I think it's really neat. Asking questions within problems, I think, is a great way to have students think, and actually you'll be surprised at how well they answer and how much you learn from their answers, or how much they don't know or how much they do know. Again, Stacy Strunk from Upper Bucks sent this in. Vocabulary. It's nice to, sometimes people don't think math have a lot of vocabulary, but it's nice to see the vocabulary section and how she breaks it up into CTE, which is your milliliters, ounces, and your math, which are some words that students don't know. Dimensional analysis, numerator, denominator, quotient. They really, you'd be surprised at how many high school students, because they don't use these as much, don't necessarily know them. So she has a great setup on the lesson plan. She has the introduction. She has a guided practice. And I like her introduction. Give a scenario where a patient would drink a 4-ounce glass of water and they need to record it. There's all kinds of things you can do. You could even bring the water in and show them, physically show them what 4 ounces looks like, because a lot of your students want to see what it looks like and what's going on with it. So it's a very interesting way to show what's going on. One of the things that I've used in my nursing, with my nursing teacher here, which is Alice Bowers, is some Jeopardy games. And like, again, what I said is I'll give you all of these. Actually, I have them posted out for you to get. One of them's a conversion to decimal fractions. If not that percentage, which is something, if you look at the actual Jeopardy game itself, it gives you the percentage, and it says, if it's not that, what is it? So a lot of students miss the knots in all of their reading, in NOCI reading, in math reading, and everything. The other game board is a Dingo game board. It's just almost like Jeopardy, but it has a dice roll, and again, you have that as well. And that one's a metric conversion, which students struggle with as well. Fundamentals of Math Nursing. This is something I found online, a very interesting thing. It's a 74-page resource, and it has all of these math things and lots of great, and I had talked to these two ladies, and they are allowing us to use this. So it's in PDF form, and again, it has been sent so you can use it. Another thing, the cc's to ounces. I set up, a lot of you are very familiar with Cornell Notes. Set up a formula sheet for Cornell Notes, and you can see kind of, it's a little blurry, but you can see how that goes from one to the other and how its ratio and proportions, and you can fill out the blanks as well in that. You can use conversion worksheets, which again I found on my math websites, which I introduced in the last webinar. The other thing I had was, if you notice, there's a little block on the bottom. You see the 9. I have a series of 9 little note cards that students can actually, you can make them create the note cards of the cc's to ounces and flip them over, and they can actually play a flip game. The other thing I do is a tic-tac-toe game, where when it's a review, and you'll notice the next screen that I'm showing you, this is a review of different things we did in the classroom. And what I do is, you notice there's blanks and they have to answer the questions. I make them fill that out on the tic-tac-toe board. So I have their answers on there, and then at the end, and I don't tell them what the answers are, so I always say, make sure you think about what you're doing, because I'm going to call the answers on your tic-tac-toe board, and if you don't get the answer, if you don't have the right answer, you're never going to hear it. So I have them working in pairs usually to try to find out the answers for their review session. So it's just to kind of make it fun. Here's another almost Cornell Notes format, which is dosage by weight. Again, students struggle with this, and maybe if you can show them a step-by-step initially and let them draw it out, that will work well. Another thing we've been doing, and we're going to continue doing, are these math minutes for down in Mrs. Bauer's class. I already have about 15 or 20 of them. By the end of the summer, we're hoping to have one for every level for the entire year. So, and again, we share everything here. So when we're finished with that, and I also do an answer key with these. So there's an answer key that runs with them. And the last thing I kind of want to talk about is the using charts and graphs. It's great for them to be able, realizing that mathematics is also logical thinking. So looking at a chart like this or a graph about a blood pressure chart and what's high and low, you know, just by answering the questions and having to process numbers in that setting is a great thing for students to learn to do, because especially nurses, they're going to have to learn to pull things from charts and numbers. And even though it's not high-level math, it's still high-level thinking. It's still that thinking process that needs to be developed in a lot of students. So that's pretty much, there's the graph that goes with it. They can graph and fill it out. And that's pretty much the end of my 10 minutes here. So what I would like to do is just go over the next steps and thank the people that were involved in this. So you are required to view both webinar videos, the Math Mysteries, which was recorded before, and this mini one for the health occupations. You complete and submit the webinar response, which if you haven't gotten it, I'm sure they'll be able to send it back out again to you. There's a new deadline, May 9th, 2014. We realize that a lot of things are going on right now with NOCTI, with different things, so we have extended the deadline to turn in that webinar response form. So if there's any questions, you can email Jennifer Grams, and everything's at the bottom of the screen. And before we go, I'd like to thank the people that helped, basically ran this webinar. I just kind of talked about it, but Gina Harrison, Kimberly Wentz, Stacy Strunk, and Alice Bowers, thank you very much for contributing to all this, and have a great day.